Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Brennan IT's Microsoft Teams webinar series. This is webinar number 1, Microsoft Teams Tips and Tricks. My name is Rebecca Postolovsky. I'm the Product Marketing Manager at Brennan IT, and I will be helping facilitate the webinar today. Just going to kick off with some housekeeping. The presentation is being recorded, so we'll send this across to you as soon as it's finished. We have enabled closed captioning, so the instructions are on the screen if you would like to activate this on your end. For any questions, these will be answered throughout the session using the live chat function. You may also ask anonymously if you would like. For any of those questions that do require a demonstration, we have allowed some time at the end of the webinar for us to go through these. Just to quickly run through the agenda, we've got Microsoft Teams overview, how to make meetings efficient, discover all the Microsoft Teams chat abilities, personal settings, and we've allowed some time for question and answer. To start off with, I would like to introduce you to Jess Stewart. She's our Senior Project Consultant at Brennan IT, and she will be taking you through Microsoft Teams today.
Thanks, Beck. I'll just share my screen. All right. So, what is Microsoft Teams? It's the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365. It brings together chat, meetings, teamwork, and files into a single application. You can also extend its capabilities by integrating other apps, and our third webinar on the 8th of October will teach you more about this. So, along the left-hand app navigation bar are the key areas of the Teams app. You've got the activity feed. So this is your feed of unread messages, missed calls and more. You can use the drop down next to feed to also see your activity. So, you know, if you'd posted a message somewhere you couldn't remember where it was, you wanted to go back and refer to it, you can find it through here. You can also set the click the settings cog up here as a shortcut to change your notification settings and what kind of activities will appear in your feed. So by default, everything's usually set to banner and email. So if you want to change that, usually it sort of defeats the purpose to be getting emails about stuff in Teams. As the whole, one of the main benefits is that it reduces your email traffic. So I usually go and switch them all off. So you can choose whether you want to just have it show up as a banner notification or only show up in the feed. And for some things, you can also turn them off if you don't want to receive notifications for that. So that's a shortcut there, but you can also get to that settings area by clicking your profile picture up the top right, going to settings and notifications. The Microsoft Teams mobile app also has 2 additional notification settings. So you can turn off mobile notifications when you're active in the desktop app or in the web browser, so that you're not receiving notifications twice, you know, once on your computer and once on your phone as well. You can also set quiet times so that you only receive notifications during business hours, for example. The next key area is chat. So this is where you can have private chats with people either one-on-one or in small groups. You can also chat with people outside of your organization if they have Teams as well. So to start a new chat, you can click the new chat icon in the chat area. In the desktop version of this app, you'll also see this icon up in the top purple navigation bar next to the search bar. So you can click that there. I'm using the desktop app, the web browser version of Teams for the moment. So there are some things that'll be slightly different. So if you click on that, it'll start a new chat. You can also use keyboard shortcuts. So in the web browser, you can see when I hover over this icon, it says new chat is Alt and N, but in the desktop version, you can use Control N and that will quickly start a new chat no matter where you are in the application. So you can have a group chat in here. So, you know, really good for small groups, staying in touch with your team, particularly if you're all working from home or your team is made up of people from lots of different offices. And you can give these group chats a name if you want as well. So you can edit that by clicking the little edit icon there. What we've done in our team when we all went to working from home at the start of the COVID lockdown is we created a water cooler group chat just as a place to maintain some of that social chit chat and have fun and stay connected, which is really important at the moment. If you've got a really long list of chats here, you can also pin your favorite ones to the top of the list. So if you hover over the chat you want to pin, click the 3 dots, more options, and select pin, it'll move it up to the top. And you can also mute a chat if it's being a bit noisy and you're wanting to focus. You don't want to receive notifications for it for a period of time. And that will just change the symbol to the notifications off, just to let you know that, and you can always switch it back on later. So one of the really handy features of the chat area is that you can instantly move from having a chat into a call. So the buttons up the top right here allow you to start a video call or a audio call with everyone who's in that chat straight away. So often I find this quite useful. You know, you're having a conversation back and forth. It's a lot quicker to just call, and it's really nice to see people face to face as well. So I do recommend using the video call and having your cameras on. In the desktop version of the app, you'll also see a button to start sharing your screen. So that's another option you can use. And you've also got the little icon up the very top right here, where you can see who's in the group chat, and you can remove them if you want. You can add people, and if you do that, you can choose how much of the conversation history you want them to be able to see. And you can also leave a group chat if necessary. So with the private chat area, you can share files. You'll notice up the top here next to the name, you've got the chat tab, and there's also a files tab. So if I click on that, I can see a history of all the files that have been shared in this conversation and who sent them. So when you share files in private chat, it's the files experience is powered by OneDrive. So if I share a file through here, it's going to be a file that's in my OneDrive. So I can see this file here was shared by Tony Stark. So it lives in his OneDrive account. This one lives in my OneDrive account. I'm using the Thor account. And this one lives in admin. So it can be a bit confusing sometimes. You're not sure where that document went. So you can use the Files tab to quickly go and find it. So if you're wanting to share a file, you can click the Attach icon in the Compose box, and that will allow you to select files that are already in your OneDrive account. So you can see any files you have stored there, or you can upload something from your computer. When you do that, it'll upload it to OneDrive and then it will share it. So files you share in group chat, you're giving edit access to everyone in that chat, and you can always remove permissions at a later date through OneDrive as well if you need. Another handy shortcut I like to use if someone shared, a Word document or a Excel, for example, and I'm wanting to open that up in my desktop application straight away. If I were to just click on it, it's going to open it in the Teams app, and then I have to sort of do another click to open it in the desktop app. But I can save myself a bit of time by clicking more options next to it, and then I get some options of how to open it. So I can edit it in the Teams application, which uses the online version of Word. I can open in the desktop app, or I can open in my browser, so that's in Word Online. Cool. So if I'm wanting to compose a message in private chat, it's going to be a very similar experience to what I get in the Teams area. I can use formatting. So if I click format here, pops up with some more options. So this is really handy if I'm wanting to create a longer message. Maybe I want to use some bullet points or numbers, or I want to insert a table even. I can do that as well. You can also add some fun with emojis. You get a bunch of options to choose from here, and you can search based on name. add some GIFs for some fun, as well as memes or stickers. And probably my favorite messaging extension is the praise feature. So this allows you to recognize your colleagues, your team members, and say thanks for their great work. So you get some badges that you can choose from here. I'm going to say thank you, and you just type the name of the person you want to say thanks to. You can add a little personalized note if you want. You get a little preview of it, and when you click send, they'll receive a notification, and you can say thanks and yeah, share the love a bit. So with sent messages, when you hover over them, you can react quickly with an emoji. And again, if you click more options, if you're wanting to improve your knowledge of Teams, I recommend always clicking the 3 dots whenever you see it. There's lots of great features hidden behind those dots. So you can choose to save a message for later. You can edit a message if it's one that you sent, and similarly, you can delete a message that you sent. You can mark it as unread. You can see who's read it as well in that group chat. And you've got some other options as well. So if I were to save a message, it gets saved up here, and I can go and find them in the saved area. So you can use this a bit of like an informal to-do list if you've got a lot of conversations that you want to come back to, or maybe someone shared a link, you want to read it, but you don't have time at the moment. You can use these bookmarks to sort of help manage that. And when you're done, you just unbookmark it by clicking the bookmark symbol. Cool. So moving along to the Teams area, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this today because we'll be focusing on that in our next webinar session on Thursday the 24th. But if you're a member of a team workspace, you can access them through this area here. So you'll see a list of all of the teams that you're a member of. And within each of these teams are what's called channels. So these are, I guess, topics to organize how you work. They group your conversations and files and other content together into related streams. So we're often asked about, when to have a conversation in a private chat versus in a channel in a team. The answer is it's sort of a bit, up to how you want to work. But what I usually recommend is, in a team, your conversations are organized into channels, and you also get the ability to have threaded conversations. So you can reply to a post, and all that conversation is grouped together. So it's a bit more organized. Whereas in private chat, the conversation history tends to get lost, and it's not something that you would usually go back and refer to later. So generally private chat I would use just for sort of social conversations or informal work-related chats that don't really need to be preserved or, visible to the rest of the team. So moving on to the calendar area, this is your Outlook calendar. And there are 3 things you can do from the Teams calendar that you don't get through Outlook. So the first one, if I click into this Teams meeting here, I get the meeting options button. So if I click on this, it'll open up a page in my web browser where I can control who can bypass the lobby. So by default, that will usually be, anyone who's in my organization can go straight into the meeting, whereas people outside have to wait in a lobby and then be let in. If I want to change that, I can do that from this page here. I can also change who has the ability to present, so that's sharing your screen, and whether you want callers to be able to join or leave, and if they have to go through a lobby, do you want to announce them? So that's if you've got the audio conferencing add-on, which allows people to dial into a Teams meeting. The second thing that I can only do from the Teams calendar is schedule a live event. So that's what we're doing today. It's a webinar where you're broadcasting to a large audience. And the third thing is the ability to schedule a meeting in a Teams channel. So this is a really handy feature. You'll see there's this add channel field in the new meeting form here. So I'll see a list of all the teams that I'm a member of, and within those teams I can select a channel. So, you know, maybe I'm organizing a meeting with the marketing team and it's, you know, discussing design. I would have that meeting in the design channel, and what's that's going to do is it's going to post all of the meeting information into that channel, and it's going to automatically invite everyone in that team. I'll show you an example here. So if I go back into the Teams area, I can see in the general channel of the Agile project team, there's this recurring daily stand-up meeting here. So the meeting information has been posted into the channel. I can click on the link here to see the meeting details if I want to see more of it. And I can see, you know, how long the meetings went for. Any conversations that went on in the meeting chat will get posted here as well. And if you record a meeting, that link to that recording will be posted as a reply to the meeting conversation thread as well. So what I really like is, you know, you can quickly see who joined the call, how long it lasted, and it's just that sort of record for other people in the team as well who maybe couldn't make it, which is quite handy. So meeting recordings, they're really useful if you can't attend the meeting or if you want to refer back to something that was discussed. They're stored in Microsoft Stream, which is kind of like, you know, Microsoft's corporate YouTube platform. So it's for video sharing, really. So if you want to start a meeting, I'll show you how to do that. So if I click into this meeting here and just join it temporarily. Again, you're wanting to click the more options, those 3 dots. And behind there, you can start a recording. So anyone who's in the same organization as the person who created the meeting can start the recording. And whoever hits that start button is going to be the owner of that recording. Anyone who joined the call will have permissions to view it. But the exception to this is if there's people who join the call who are from outside of your organization, because videos that are stored in Stream can't be shared externally at the moment. That's just one of the limitations, but it is in the roadmap to be a feature in the coming maybe 6 months, I think. So keep an eye out for that. But for the moment, meeting recordings would only be shared internally. So whoever the owner of the recording is the only person who can do things like deleting the video, downloading it, or sharing it with other people. So with this meeting recording here, I can share it because I was the owner of that recording. So if I click share, I can, you know, make it available to everyone in my organization if I want, or I can open it up in Stream and provide a bit more granular permission. So if I just want to share with one other person who's outside of this team, for example, I can do that there. Cool. So moving on to the calls area. This is where you can use Teams as a phone system if your organization's set up for it. So our final webinar on the 22nd of October will demonstrate how this works. So if you're interested in that, I recommend registering for it. The files area is where you can see your recently modified documents. You can also access your personal documents stored in OneDrive, and you have a link to quickly open up in OneDrive for the full experience to get all the features there. You've also got even more apps visible or accessible through the 3 dots. So you can, use Planner for tasks. So this is quite handy. You can see, a list of all tasks you've been assigned across different teams if you're using that. Similarly, you can see all of your OneNote notes if you're using that as well. If you're, using one of these apps that's hidden behind the 3 dots quite regularly, if you right-click it, You can also select pin, and that will make it persistent on that left-hand app navigation bar. If you're in the desktop app, you can also drag and drop these to reorder them. So if you're wanting to quickly navigate between these key areas in Teams, you can use keyboard shortcuts to do that. So it'll depend on the order you have them in this list, but in the web browser, if I use Control Shift and 1, it's going to take me up to activity. Control Shift 2 will go to chat, Control Shift 3, Teams, and so on. In the desktop app, it's just Control and then 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So the last area of the app navigation bar I want to draw attention to is help. Microsoft have really fantastic online training resources around Teams and all their other platforms as well. So I recommend familiarizing yourself with this and using it whenever you're wanting to learn a bit more how to do something. In a lot of these Microsoft applications, there's never just one way to go about something. So it's usually a process of finding, what's the quickest way to do something for what I need to do. And going through these help resources and the training will really make you more productive and efficient in your day. You can also find out, how to turn on the new meeting features. So this has been a really common one. The new meeting experience allows you to have a meeting pop out in a separate window, and you get, like a large gallery view, so you can see more people on the screen at once. So you can also find out what's new by clicking the What's New tab. Microsoft are constantly improving their applications and releasing new features. So this is where you can go to find out what some of those new features are and how you can use them to get more out of your day. Cool. So lastly, I'll just go through how to set your status. So this is really important when your colleagues can't see you so that they can know if you're available or not. So default, if you don't have anything in your calendar, will be set to available. I've changed my status to do not disturb so that I don't get any notifications popping up. You can also change it to busy, which will automatically switch to that if you've got something in your calendar at that time. If you are on do not disturb, you can make exceptions to who can send you notifications. So if you're wanting to not get any notifications except from your manager, perhaps, you can set them up as a priority contact. So if I change my status to available and then back to do not disturb, you'll see it pops up with this little message here. So you can click change settings and that will take you to the priority access area. Or the privacy area of settings. So that's where you can add people to make them exceptions to the do not disturb rule. Another really great feature you can use is the ability to set a status message. So this can help add context to your status. So I can say, I'm running a Teams webinar and we'll be back online at 11 a.m. And you can select show when people message me, a time after which you want to clear that status message. So I'll leave it to be an hour. And there we go. And you can always edit it or discard it by clicking those buttons there. So I'll show you an example here. Tony Stark has set a message. He says, I'm in a planning meetings all day, so I won't be contactable. And that's how it'll appear when someone's trying to have a conversation with them in a group chat. Or if you're in the Teams area and you @mention them, it'll pop up there as well. If someone were to @mention you in their status message, then it'll send an automated message to you in chat. So I can see this one here. Yesterday, Tony mentioned me in his status message, and so then that sent me that message as a chat, which is sort of a handy way to kill two birds with one stone if you are needing to let people know that you're going to be away. So if you're wanting to find a quicker way to change your status rather than, click, 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 you can use the command bar. And this is, in my opinion, one of the most powerful and underrated features of Teams. So it's not just search, although you can use it for that. If you click the / button, it pops up with a list of commands or shortcuts that you can use. You can also speed up that process, rather than having to click into that. If you use Control and /, then it pops up with that list straight away. So if I type AV, once available becomes the only option in that drop down there, I just hit enter and it automatically changes my status to available. Similarly, if I want to change it back to do not disturb, it's DND, to hit enter. So if you're wanting to see a full list of these keyboard shortcuts, you can't remember everything I went through. If you click your profile picture, then select keyboard shortcuts, it'll show you the whole list. So there's lots of ones for all of the areas pretty much, and they'll be different depending whether you're using Teams through the web browser or through the desktop application. But definitely worthwhile familiarizing yourself with some of these to save you time. Cool, so that's it for the tips and tricks demonstration. Now we've got some time for some questions.
Thanks, Jess. We had one. How do you invite someone if I'm already in a meeting?
Oh, that's a good one. So if you're in a meeting, I'll join this one and show you. If you open up the show participants area, then you can copy the join info here and you can send that to them, or you can, type their name and that will call them, or in some other versions, in the latest version of the Teams meeting experience, if people have been invited already, you can also, if you just hover over their name, they'll say ask to join and that will call them. So, if they're not in the meeting and you expect them to be, you can send them a reminder by calling them and that will invite them into the meeting straight away. But if they haven't already been invited, you can copy the join info up here and send that to them.
Great. We had another question. Do the priority people disappear once you take off D&D? In other words, do I need to set these people every time we put D&D on?
No, so they'll be persistent. So once you've set that up, they'll be in your priority access list until you remove them. So they'll be persistent there.
Another question we have is, how do you access a meeting after you've missed the initial call?
So it depends how the meeting has been scheduled. So if it's in a channel, you can click on the, if someone's already in a meeting right now, you can click the join button there, or you can find it in your calendar if it's been scheduled and click into it and then click join from there. Or if, maybe the group chat started a call and you couldn't join it straight away, but, maybe 10 minutes have passed and now you can join it. If you go to that group chat, you'll then up the top see a join call button and you can click that there.
That's all we have from a demonstration question perspective. If there is any more questions, please send them through now. Otherwise, we are available for contact via email as well. So thank you everyone for joining our Microsoft Teams tips and tricks webinar. We will be sending this webinar recording to you guys once the webinar is completed. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reply back to